On today's podcast, we're talking about the gift of presence, not presents as in holiday gifts, but presence as our own ability to be in the moment with ourselves and with the people around us, to have presence. As the holiday season is upon us, we're going to talk about the greatest gift we always give ourselves and those around us, the gift of awareness, the gift of presence, to actually be in the moment that we're in. And I hope you look forward to today's episode. Welcome back to The Thermostat with Jason Barger. If you're currently on a commute, a walk, or just a micro break in your day, glad you're making time to step back, to think, and to reflect on the next steps on your journey. I've never been more convinced the best leaders and team cultures in the world are the ones that make time to step back, breathe in good oxygen, and calibrate their thermostat. I hope today's conversation leaves you feeling grounded and inspired. Now let's dive into today's topic to engage our minds and hearts in order to authentically lead and create compelling cultures wherever we are in the world. Hey everybody, it's Jason, and welcome back to the Thermostat Podcast. Wherever you are and however you're coming to the podcast today, welcome back. So glad you are here. If you are an OG, one of the original folks that have been listening to this podcast from the very beginning, welcome back. So glad it continues to add value and contribute to your life and work. If you're new to the podcast, which so many people are because it continues to grow and spread in exciting ways, welcome. Hope you'll all go back and listen to past episodes. We've got over 150 episodes now. So many great topics. Great thought leaders have joined me. So really, really great stuff. Hope you will check it out. As always, my promise to you is that however you're listening to this, this will be a time in your week, in your day, whenever you're listening to this, for you to step back, be filled with some positive mojo, and think about your life, your work, the cultures that you're trying to create, and hopefully it will bring you value. I'm more convinced of this than ever in the world that we're in. We need authentic leadership, and we need cultures that bring out the best in people that people want to be a part of. That really will help us all. So excited to carry the conversation forward today. Before we dive into today's topic, if you will do me the favor and rate the podcast 5 stars, of course. This is the way that the algorithms work to help other people find the podcast. So if you'll rate it 5 stars, if you'll leave your words authentically, a review, like what you like about the podcast or episodes, that is always helpful. That helps people find it. And then obviously sharing it with people in your network, colleagues, team members, friends, whatever that is, social media. However you share it, if something resonates with you, share it with the people around you. And I appreciate that very, very much. So on today's podcast, we're talking about the gift of presence, not presents as in holiday gifts, but presence as our own ability to be in the moment with ourselves and with the people around us, to have presence. As the holiday season is upon us, we're going to talk about the greatest gift we always give ourselves and those around us, the gift of awareness, the gift of presence, to actually be in the moment that we're in. And I hope you look forward to today's episode. So let's pause for a second, take a quick break, and we'll be right back. If you haven't done so already, we hope you'll visit Amazon or Amplify or jasonvbarger.com to check out Breathing Oxygen, my new book that is all about breathing good oxygen into ourselves and mindsets that fuel ourselves and the teams and the organizations around us. Positive, healthy thinking is as essential to great leadership and building a winning culture as the air we breathe. Leading yourself and a team of people has never been more complicated than it is today. As a leader, every move you make is either breathing life into your organization or slowly killing it. The atmosphere can easily turn toxic with negativity, blame, and doubt poisoning the culture. Just like every being on the planet needs good air to breathe, every organization needs leadership that breathes life into its people to sustain the energy required to complete its mission. Breathing Oxygen focuses on 6 key leadership mindsets that breathe life into any team: clarity, inclusivity, mental agility, grit, rest, and ownership. Join us, read, and share Breathing Oxygen.
Available now from Amplify Books on Amazon and jasonvbarger.com.
So first off, 2 thank yous real quickly to just get to. One, anybody who continues to help with the launching of the book, Breathing Oxygen, that came out in August. So much great momentum, and appreciate everybody who keeps sharing what is resonating with them about it, and also just sharing it with other people. So thank you. It makes great holiday gifts too. So if it's something that resonates with you, I hope you'll share it with other people. The second thank you is about Thermostat Cultures Live. We just had that Friday, November 4th, a few weeks ago. Amazing event. We had a really powerful in-person VIP experience. So many amazing people, the vibe in the room, just the conversations that were the currency for change happening in the space. It was a really, really powerful day. And then we also had a great virtual audience. And so really, really awesome. If you didn't listen to the recap episode, you can hear other people's words and reflections on it that just came out a couple of weeks ago. Check that out in the podcast. And if you are already thinking about next year, we don't have the date chosen for sure yet, but we're targeting Friday, November 3rd, 2023, if that's something you want to begin to plan with your team and schedule. So hold that in your calendar. So today we're talking about the gift of presence. Presence with a Presence, not presents as in gifts that you put under a tree. As the holiday season is upon us, we're going to talk about the greatest gift that we always give, ourselves and also those around us. And it's the gift of awareness, of actually being present with one another, to actually be in the moment that we're in. And so let's kind of define this term presence. We're not just talking about, are you physically there? Are you physically there? There are a lot of times that we are physically with the people, we're physically in a room, but we're really not being present. Being in the moment physically and emotionally with somebody are different things. So we want to, as we're talking about this idea of presence, is not only physically being with somebody. Everybody's been a part of a conversation where somebody's they're physically with you, but you can tell by the look in their eyes they're not really with you. And so all of us do that, by the way. But to be emotionally with whatever we are experiencing, and also with, or truly with, the people that we are spending time with and that we are having that moment with. As the poet Mary Oliver once said, quote, "This is the first, wildest, and wisest thing I know, that the soul exists and is built entirely out of attentiveness." And so I love that quote, but it causes me to think about, what are we truly attentive to? And are we present? And you've heard me talk about on this podcast, where we look is where we go. Where we look, our bodies will follow. And so what are we giving our attention to? What are we truly present, not just physically, but emotionally? Are we with the moment? And are we with the people that we're truly physically with? And then where we look is where we go. What we give that attentiveness to is where our body will follow. And the reason why this topic came up to me and I started to think about it, and I've been reflecting on it this week, is that as we enter the busyness of the holiday season, which we're already into that stretch that takes place, but the busyness of holidays, my challenge to myself all the time, and then also certainly to all the listeners, is to aim to not just rush through the holidays, but to experience and give and share the gift of presence with myself and also with the people that I am with along the way. We oftentimes get in this frantic rush through all the holidays, excitement and madness and things to do, and certainly work commitments that we have, that oftentimes it can feel like a blur to us. And so, this is especially true during this stretch of the holiday season. But, oh, by the way, this isn't just for the holidays. This is for the whole year. We are better as leaders. We are better as, and I'm speaking this by looking myself in the mirror as I say this, I know we're better spouses, we're better parents, we're better friends, and we're certainly better with our jobs, with the projects, with our goals, with the role that we're playing at work when we are truly present in the moment with what needs our attention, our attentiveness, and with those who we are sharing the moment with. The gift of presence helps us to be better, or without it, our performance erodes. We are quickly racing to the next thing and not fully in the moment, which means we're not able to perform at our highest level when we really need it most. And so as you're listening to this, I invite you to actually to just do a quick exercise of just slowing yourself down. And hopefully that this podcast each week is an opportunity for you to step back and just naturally slow yourself down, but to slow yourself down and to breathe. The number of times lately where I've caught myself where I'm on the move a lot. I am a high achieving person, meaning not that I'm just aiming to achieve, but I'm aiming to be at my best and accomplish and serve and support the organizations that I'm supporting in the highest level. And so I take that very seriously and I work very hard at it. But there are times when even in the midst of that race where we need to allow ourselves to slow down and you can catch yourself almost like holding your breath. And so I invite you to slow down right now and actually take a breath. Recognize and look around with where you are. Recognize what are you giving your attentiveness to? Not just right in this moment, but lately, if you scan your mind and think about your life and your work right now, where are you giving your attention? Is it what you want it to be on? What truly needs your attentiveness for this season of your life and your work? And what do you truly want to give your attentiveness to in this very moment? And all of a sudden, we start to bring ourselves back to not just racing from point A to point B, but to actually be with ourselves and with the moment that we're on. So a couple of quick on-the-run tips. So as we all have a lot that we're trying to accomplish and a lot on our plates, I'm sure. I know I do. And so here are some tips that at least that I think about for myself, but to cultivate more presence or this kind of mindfulness in your day and your leadership practice and within the culture that you create with the people around you is one is to have awareness around when you begin to feel sped up. That part of emotional intelligence and knowing ourselves is, can we become more aware of when we are feeling sped up? And then at those moments to just close our eyes and actually breathe. Take a few breaths and close our eyes and recognize, even just take a moment to recognize your breath and kind of that feeling of feeling sped up. And every time we close our eyes and breathe in those kind of ways, we know that, we start to become more present in the moment. In that moment, after the awareness of feeling sped up, to be able to name the things that are occupying your mind. What are those things that seem to be occupying your mind or stealing your attention, or the things that you might be a little anxious about? What are those things? And sometimes even just naming them out loud or in your mind is a helpful thing. And then to shift your attention from not just naming those things, but acknowledging what you can control, what is within your control in the moment, and let go of the things, naming them and letting go of the things that you can't control. I can't control the weather. I can't control the market conditions. I can't control a pandemic or whatever the example is that, again, is out of our control. But what are the things that are within my control in this moment? And the things that aren't, I'm going to let go of. And then to shift your attention back to where you want to be. To not only breathing in that moment, but where you look is where you go. So what's the mindset that you want to give your attention to? What are the highest priorities of the things that you really want to give your attention to? And then name your intention. Name, like, what do you want to happen? Who is it that you want to be? And this isn't, hopefully, for anybody out there that's listening, hopefully this doesn't feel like a weirdo thing, practice, but these are just the ways in which we allow ourselves to slow down and be intentional as a human, let alone as a leader, in the midst of a lot of things, swirling around us. But to name, what's my intention, or what's the spirit that I want to carry with me for the next action, for whatever it is that I'm going to give my attention to. What is that? None of us are perfect. I certainly am not. And again, anybody that knows me knows that I'm quick to say that. But I just share this with you as I try to practice this kind of thinking before, as I catch myself racing from thing to thing, or just moments in life where you feel a little sped up. I try to practice this myself. But I also practice it even when I'm not feeling sped up. I practice this before almost every meeting that I have, every speech that I give, for sure, every client that I'm about to go in to support and serve and to listen to. I practice bringing my attention to the moment so that I'm not just physically there, but I'm ready to be there emotionally and be with the people that I'm there to be with. And then I get clear on my intentions and, again, the purpose and the why and the mission for why I'm there, to not just be physically with them, but to be fully attentive and fully present with them. And I believe that leaders and teams and organizations and cultures that begin to understand this and begin to practice this kind of breathing better together, not only because it just helps them not feel sped up, but also it helps our performance expand. It helps us to be more with each other, which means we build better relationships, better trust, and the outcomes of all our efforts increase. We become better at it. And so the best leaders and teams and cultures on the planet, they know that this doesn't just naturally happen. We've got to practice this kind of thinking, acting, and interacting to be intentional and purposeful about what are we going to give our attention to and what kind of presence does it require. And so, as always, let me leave you with a couple of questions for this week for you to ponder. What tends to steal your attentiveness? What tends to steal your attentiveness, your attention? From day to day or week to week or moment to moment, what steals your attentiveness? Who or what needs your attentiveness these days? Who and what needs your attention? And how can you practice giving or sharing the gift of presence over the next few weeks and hopefully beyond, but certainly over the next few weeks? How can you practice giving and sharing that gift of presence in the midst of a time when so much is happening around us? I hope that means something to you along your leadership and your journey with the cultures that you're creating with the people around you. Quickly, before we end today's podcast, I'll just say one last thing, because people keep asking me how they can help with the launch of the new book, Breathing Oxygen, because it's still in this kind of upward launch mode from just coming out in August, and certainly well through the holidays and into the next year, the book will still be quote-unquote launching. So the holidays are a great time if you haven't gotten it, or if you want to share it with other people. So the 3 quick ways that you can help: 1, order the book and read it. I'm inviting people to actually read the book. That's why I wrote it. So I want people to actually read the book, and hopefully it resonates with you and it breathes good oxygen into you. And then if and only if it resonates with you, again, not because just to sell more books. In fact, I don't really want. I only want to sell the books that really resonate with people, or people say, this is worthy of sharing, and therefore I want to share it with other people. I want to give the gift to somebody else. So if it's authentic for you and it resonates with you, I invite you to gift it to people in your life, on your team, throughout your organization, colleagues, friends, whatever that may be. Share it with the people in your life and work. And then lastly, logistically, you can leave reviews. That's the other way that's really helpful. Amazon reviews, or whatever platform you store you buy the book from, reviews, your 5-star ratings, and your authentic words. That's how the algorithms work, so people can find it more easily. So if you have other ideas of how you want to help, we're all ears. You can email info@jasonvbarger.com, and we'll certainly help you out if it's bulk copies or discounts or something that you need for your team or your organization. We'll get creative and try to figure out how we can best help you do that. This is just a reminder again to breathe in the appreciation and gratitude for the life that you're creating, the work that we get to do in the world. And I hope that today is another opportunity to calibrate your own personal thermostat. Think about that temperature you're trying to set. And then what's the mindset that you can breathe oxygen in to kind of keep it going for yourself individually, and then strategically with your team and organization for that culture shaping that is a part of everything, every great entity in the world. So I hope you'll keep tuning in to future episodes. Remember, the best leaders, teams, and cultures on the planet stimulate progress by recalibrating their thermostat and then breathing good oxygen into themselves and to others along the way. Thank you for listening to today's podcast, and I hope the messages and questions stimulate positive change along your path. As always, if these messages resonate with you and add value to your life, I hope you'll help amplify them throughout the world. Please rate, comment, and share on whatever podcast or social media platform you're using, and share this podcast with the people in your life or work who should be part of these conversations. That way, this spirit does, in fact, spread. If these messages or developing leaders and culture would be helpful to you and your organization, please contact us at jasonvbarger.com, jasonvbarger.com. And remember, we are all ambassadors for the culture we want to create in our life and work. We have to own the vision we want to be a part of. The future of leadership is you, is me, is us. Be a thermostat.